This constructor literally drops mines behind you while you're bull rushing. Whether or not he's good is up to you. I found that he's a very, very fun hero. I doubt that this will be used in any serious missions, but those mines are super, super fun. In fact, we actually got a group of us together and we're all just spamming these mines everywhere, trying to shoot as little as possible. We were fairly successful as far as the 132 zone goes, but it's definitely just a for fun perk. So that's basically what this does. Whenever you bull rush with Gold Knox as your lead, you'll leave a mine behind you every half tile traveled, and every single one of those mines will do 275 base physical damage in a half tile radius around the mine, which is actually a pretty big deal. I found that even against elemental zombies, it was doing pretty okay damage. Even against this water smasher, it wasn't great, but once you got the smasher going like along the way that you traveled across the mines, you can get some pretty decent damage stacking up, and I never really quite found the right way to attack enemies, because either you ran through a crowd and all the mines would blow up in an encampment, which doesn't really look like you're doing a lot of damage because everything happens behind you, but if you keep doing passes through the zombies, you'll find that the damage really does add up and sort of amount to a decent amount of damage, but it's still a little bit quirky that you're just constantly running through the enemies. And you can see that my loadout is pretty basic here. I basically got Demo Derby in the lead because in the support it'll basically do less than half the damage, almost a third even, and it'll only be a mine every single tile traveled. So you're getting half the mines dropped at basically less than half the damage. However, I did swap him with Marathon Hype, so her Bull Rush buffed me from 2 tiles going all the way up to 6 tiles. I found that in both situations, I dropped about 10 mines. I personally counted 11 mines with her in the support and him in the lead, but my friends are telling me 10. Regardless, I got 10 either way. They were just more spaced out and less damage with him in the support. I would never recommend Marathon Hype in the lead for this. That's a huge, huge distance to be sprinting. You're basically running a mile just to activate your ability. And what I also found was the fact that when you're running this and you want to be doing like damage with your mines as your main primary offense, you kind of want to run a short distance so you have a little bit more control over what's going on. However, with a shorter distance, you will drop less mines. So when it comes to what kind of loadout you're going to use with Gold Knox, I would recommend at least considering Long Rush if you want to have that extra 2 tiles. And then Rush Rush is almost a necessity. If you're building an entire loadout around his ability, Happy Holidays is super recommended. You don't need it, but if you don't commit to his Demo Derby ability, then there's not really any point in using Gold Knox. So I'm going to stick with Happy Holidays for the rest of this loadout. You guys can do whatever you want. But Rush Rush is super, super nice to get that cooldown. Unfortunately, this is from Catstructor Penny, so if you didn't play during the Halloween event, then, typical save the world. I'm sorry, you guys. Don't use a voucher on this. It's not that important. It's just a little bit of fun. I'll link my video below on what you should spend your vouchers on, but another thing that you might even want to consider pulling out of the book is the Patriot Penny. Again, you don't need this, but it is the other Bull Rush perk that I'm aware of, where when your shield depletes, it'll reset the cooldown. This is not necessary. I found that with Marathon Hype and the support, I was very easily, comfortably getting my ability back within about 2 seconds after my Bull Rush had finished. Maybe a little more than that, but, when you go through the Bull Rush, turn around, assess the damage, line up your next shot. By that time, it's almost always back already. You don't need this if you're using Happy Holidays, and I would never recommend spending 20 V-Bucks or, God forbid, a hero voucher pulling it out. This is just a very fun loadout. So in terms of like the actual loadout, you can pretty much do whatever you want here. His mines are super cool. This is a very fun ability. I'm very glad that they actually added this into the game. I had a lot of fun with this. I might do this in the future. I mean, you're basically just activating Bull Rush and leaving a bunch of mines behind you, dealing explosive damage. It's pretty fun and actually pretty powerful. I said this on stream actually, that I kept trying to see how much damage it was doing to like the normal mist monsters and like the higher zones we were playing in, but almost none of them actually survived long enough for me to get a really good look at how effective these mines were, which is a pretty good sign. They do very significant damage and it's a pretty fun build to use. I would recommend using this if you're just bored of the norm and you're looking for something fun to mess around with. If you're doing a hard 4-player mission or you're doing something that's going to challenge you and your team, I wouldn't recommend bringing this guy to that fight, but he's definitely a good thing to have. So it's also important to note before I get out of here that Fuel for the Fallen is very nice to have. If you're running this with Happy Holidays, you're going to want that energy recovery, and Going Coconuts helped me a ton. I threw on power modulation because, surprise, he's a constructor. He actually does have a base, so that's kind of nice when the mission is, starting up and you want to throw your base down. It's not the main point, because if you're going to be buffing his Demo Derby as much as we are, I only had one more slot for power modulation. However, if you don't care about power modulation or anything that'll buff your base any further than it already is, you can absolutely get like an armor perk. So if you go to another constructor, you can get Bomb Suit Kyle. And if I've been hearing correctly about their Spy Llama luck, it seems as though a lot of you are probably going to have a lot of Bomb Suit Kyle laying around. So if you want to get some use, if you're using Gold Knox, especially in encampments, you will be running through and past a lot of enemies and you'll be taking a lot of damage. So that extra 22 armor might go a long way. But of course, not further than Marathon Hype in the lead. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Nice little rundown on Gold Knox. I think he's fun. I'm going to use him a little bit. I don't think he's great. I think he's definitely worth trying out. Don't be like Ben's, friend of ours, who basically just booked him immediately and never even tried him out. I think every new hero is worth a little bit of experimenting, and this guy is definitely a unique one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.